Good afternoon. We are in the midst of Parshas Korach. Korach was a man of great wisdom, wealth, and stature. And he personally attacked the leader of the Jewish people, Moshe, and he wanted to take away the position of the high priest because he felt he was more deserving than the present occupier of that position. What was Korach? What was his appeal? And how does it reflect in today's day and age? The answer is that Korach was a complainer. He was a complainer who said, "This just isn't fair." He was the first person recorded in the Torah to trumpet the fairness doctrine, that things had to be equitable and fair. It's unfair that certain people are better off spiritually, materially, physically. What we demand is an equal outcome, or at least access, equal access for everybody. And then Korach was a pretender. He said the real Kohen should not be the present occupier of that position. I should be the real Kohen. And there were other people who felt that they could be the real Kohen as well, the real official who spoke for God and country and the people. And there were two distinct groups, the groups of the complainers and the groups of the pretenders. Complainers are different than pretenders because complainers appeal to the masses. They appeal to the masses that things aren't good because you're not getting your fair share. Oh, yeah, things are pretty good, but they could have been a lot better had I been in charge, or this hadn't been done. Complainers have only one goal in mind, and that's to undermine the position of those in charge. Pretenders are different. Pretenders are waiting for the opportunity to take over in case the real power falters. And that's what happened in this parsha. Korach had complainers. The complainers got all the people riled up. They got public response. The public disliked Moses, disliked Aaron. Public opinion was against them, not just over 50%. Public opinion ran as high as 90%, maybe more. All of the people backed Korach because of his complaints of fairness. And then there were the people who tried to believe that they were worthy of the title, that somehow or other Aaron was not worthy of the title. Aaron was a fraud, and they really lost out because there were fraudulent events that put Aaron in charge. You get what I'm talking about, what I'm driving at? We have in this world a president who is beset by complainers, And people who claim that he's a fraud, he really shouldn't have been the president at all, that he got in by some Russian hacking, and somebody else really deserved to be in his place. So there are two groups: the usurpers, the pretenders, and the complainers. What happens to the complainers and the pretenders? The complainers sink into the ground. They lose their assets, they lose their positions, they lose everything they have, because the complaints are a lie. I'll get to that why in a second. And the pretenders are burned. What does it mean that they're burned? They can't function. They become overwhelmed. It's not physical burning, it's spiritual burning. They get burned up, and they get shown that they're just fraudulent, that they're not really worthy. Look what's happening in today's week that parallels the complainers and the pretenders. The complainers complain that things are not fair because there has to be a redistribution of wealth. Whose wealth? Not theirs, somebody else's. The truth of the matter is that those who promote socialism mean not just the money of people who are middle class, they mean the money of the really rich people like George Soros. They want to take his money too. He just thinks that by supporting them, they're going to leave him alone. That's not what happens. Just look at Russia. Look what Putin does to the billionaire oligarchs, one by one. When you have a confiscatory government, they're not after the little guy, they're after the big guy. There's some big guys who think that by supporting the complainers, that somehow or other they're going to be spared. That's not what happens. What happens is they lose it all. The complainers lose it all. And the complainers are complaining that things aren't fair. There's too much wealth with too few people. Never mind that this almost all the people who want to have jobs, that the economy is better than it's ever been. It's still not fair. The problem is you can never get equivalent outcome. Let's say you and I and a couple of other people were to share a pizza. The pizza's got 8 slices, and each one of us gets 2 slices. Now, I'm a fat guy and I'm hungry. I might eat my slices right away. You may decide you want to keep one of the slices for supper. Another guy's real stingy, and he doesn't want to eat any of it because he may need it when he's really hungry. So he doesn't touch any of it and just puts it away. So you got 3 different attitudes, maybe 4 different attitudes. You got one person that's consuming it. The 4th person figures, I don't need 2 pieces of pizza. Might as well share it with somebody, and that person shares it with somebody. In either case, he's either eaten himself or he's given part of it away. So he doesn't have any left. The other person holds it for himself, eats a little bit, puts some aside, and the 4th person doesn't eat any of it because he wants to keep it for himself for who knows how long. So you have 4 different ways of dealing with things, and with different results. The people who eat it or give it away don't have anything left. The guy who saves some of it has some left for supper. The guy who's so stingy doesn't touch any of it, puts it away in the freezer, he may have it for a day or two, but after a few days it goes bad. So it's not going to help him after a certain amount of time, but he's going to keep it longer than anybody else. The results are going to be different. If somebody gave you a check for $100, you might spend all of it going out to a restaurant. Another person will save some of it, spend some of it. Another person will save all of it. There are different attitudes with people, and the results are going to be different for each of the people. So you can't have equal results. Never going to have equal results. What are you going to do when somebody has saved up all of his income and invested it afterwards? Oh, we won't have any investments? That person's going to become rich even after you've divided all the monies. You can never have an equitable outcome because it depends on people's habits and people's abilities. So the fairness doctrine is not a true criteria. It's whether or not things are going according to reasonability, according to the law, according to reasonable laws. Are you employed? Do you have an income that you can pay your bills? If people are being paid and getting paid better, and be able to, more people getting to pay their bills, and there's going to be less of a debt, then the president is doing a great job with the economy, not just a good job. He's doing a better job than Obama, who increased the number of people on food stamps by about 7-8 million, who increased the national debt, tripled the national debt almost, and didn't have full employment, as does Donald J. Trump. So for those complainers, you can all sink into the holes of the ground because there's nothing to complain about. And those people who are pretenders get burned. There's going to be a report given by the Inspector General of the Justice Department, Mr. Horowitz, and it's going to be scathing against the Hillary Clinton campaign and those who supported her in the Department of Justice and the FBI. They're trying to mitigate it. They're trying to change some of it so it's not as bad and as bitter. But I predict that what's going to happen is that the pretenders are going to be burnt really badly, and they will never recover. Their reputations will never recover. And what's happening this week, which is incredibly during the week of the yahrzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, perhaps the world will become one step closer to world peace at the end of this week. And I hope and pray that that's what happens. But half of this country doesn't want that to happen. Horrifically, some people want the talks to fail because they want Trump to fail, despite the fact that no president has ever been able to engage the Kim family as Trump has. It's incredible. The first time in over 70 years, or 68 years, that we're having direct talks with North Korea. First time. And people don't want it to be successful because they hate the president. Do you hate life? Do you hate peace? Do you hate security? Do you hate the people of the United States, that you wish that the dangers of Kim Jong-un administration should still be present? We have to pray for peace, no matter who is president. I disliked Obama's methods in dealing with Israel and reaching out to Iran. But if he were negotiating with Kim Jong-un about his nuclear projects, I would pray that he would be successful for the success and peace of all of mankind. And so all of those complainers hopefully will sink, because God has a different plan. And all the pretenders who believe that they could do a better job will be burned, because the net result will be a safer, stronger world, despite the fact that we have a president who 50% of us don't like.